Elijah is the guy we're talking about here, and he lived in the driest part of Israel. So when he prayed this prayer, he was going to get hit harder than most people because he was already in. He had not gotten a word from God that there would be a brook and a raven. He had no fresh word coming that way, right? He just took God's word, stepped out on it, and said, I'm standing right here, and I'm going to pray for your word to come to pass. Now, what had happened before Elijah done this, in God's word, he had already said that when Israel gives themselves to idolatry, I'm going to withhold the rain. God, that was one of the things God was going to do. So Elijah said he knew God's word, so he stepped into that word and said, God, bring that to pass. Now, why would he do that? Everybody's going to suffer once he does that. But he's praying the will of God, right? He's praying according to the will of God. He's praying. Why would you do such a thing? Why would you pray such hardship and such pain in on your people? Why would you come into agreement with a word like that? Because if God didn't bring judgment, these people were going to go deeper and further into sin. You understand that judgment is used by God many times to get people's attention, to open their eyes and to turn back to Him. We don't like that. We don't like God. We don't like judgment. We don't even like to use that term. But God, sometimes nations and cultures get so side off on the wrong track, they're just going to keep rolling that way until God puts a stop in the middle of that. So somebody who's willing to intercede for God's word and His will to come to pass is valuable, because they pray God's will. If he was praying according to his own emotion, he would have said, God, get all of them that are living like that. Let the famine come on them, but let me and my family have plenty of water to drink. That's not an intercessor. Because not only all those things I read to you before, an intercessor identifies with those who are in trouble. Moses said, if you're going to kill them, kill me. Daniel said, we have sinned. Daniel didn't have nothing to do with their stupid sin. He was just a boy, technically, but he said, we. When he prayed intercessory prayer in Daniel chapter 9, he said, we. Now, the only way you can be an intercessor is have compassion on the sinners that are involved. You're not a true intercessor unless you can have compassion on the lost that are involved. So an intercessor does not do his will. He prays according to God's will. And I'm going to throw something real heavy on you here in just a minute.